Most KDP creators take one idea and turn it into one book. But what if that same idea could become two completely different books without doubling the work? That's exactly what I did. Starting with a single idea, I created both a coloring book and an activity book using AI. And in this video, I will show you the exact process step by step for creating both of these books from scratch using AI. So these are the two books that I created from just one idea, a coloring book and an activity book. And the interesting part is both of these books come from the exact same starting point using AI. Now, if you're thinking this looks like two completely separate projects, that's actually the biggest misconception most people have with KDP. Because what I'm about to show you is how I turn one idea into multiple products without restarting the entire process. But let's not jump ahead, because if you don't structure the idea correctly first, everything after this falls apart. So I'm going to start exactly where I started, inside ChatGPT. And I didn't even think about the design first. I started with something much simpler, the idea first. Now, because both books are for kids, I needed a theme that works for both a coloring book and an activity book at the same time. Now, this is so important because if your theme is too complex, the entire system breaks. So I'm asking ChatGPT, I'm saying, give me 10 coloring book theme ideas for kids ages 2 to 5. Keep them very simple, cute and playful, low detail, bold line friendly. And ChatGPT has gone ahead to give that. The goal here is not to pick the best idea randomly. It is to pick something that can be expanded into multiple book types later on. Now, you'll notice that it gave a mix of ideas. You can see animals, you could see construction funds, that's objects, insects. But I'm not just going to pick anything. I'm looking for something that is simple enough for kids, but flexible enough to become more than one product. And I found it. So I'm going to be going with this playtime toys as the coloring book theme. Now, once I pick the idea, I don't just go into drawing or designing anything yet. Instead, I begin to build the structure of the entire book first, because that is what most beginners skip. Now, based on this theme, I'm going to be doing a 24-page coloring book as well as a 24-page activity book. That will be 12 coloring pages, 12 activity pages, solely for the purpose of this video. Of course, if you're doing yours, you're going to have to do more pages because that's where the perceived value is in. Now, I'm saying based on this theme, create a 24-page kids coloring structure. Each page should contain one simple object or scene, be extremely low detail, use bold outline, be suitable for ages 2 to 5. What I'm doing here is forcing AI to think like a book planner and not just a random image generator. So now I have the coloring book structure. This part is super important. Instead of manually guessing what each page should look like, I let AI break it down into actual image prompts. So now I've asked AI to turn the 24-page structure into individual AI prompts, and AI has gone ahead to do just that. As you can see, everything stays consistent. They are simple objects, clean outlines, and very predictable nature. That's exactly what you want for kids coloring book. Now, for image generation, I typically use an AI tool that I personally work with. And I'll be honest, the reason I use it is not because it's popular, but because it produces clean, distortion-free line art. And that really matters a lot for KDP, because if your lines are messy or inconsistent, kids literally cannot use the book properly. So I always prioritize clarity over complexity. And I've attached the link to this particular tool in the description below. So you want to go click the link and go check it out. Now, when you sign up, you're going to get a few credits for you to test it out, although your images are going to be watermarked. However, in order for you to be able to use this tool 100% completely and get all of the features, then you need to be subscribed to the pricing plan. And there is a catch, right? There is a yearly plan and it has a whooping 30% off. So you save a lot more while investing in a longer period of time. Now, if you want to get all the features, I usually advise you go for the professional plan because you get all of the features. The hobby plan is also fair as well, but there are some features that you may not be able to access. However, if you want to scale your coloring book business, then business is going to be a great plan for you. However, if you just want to test things out and know what is what, then you could also check out the starter plan. There's also the monthly plan. You can see the difference in the price range. So now I'm going to head into the text to coloring book, which I'm going to show you what this AI tool is capable of doing. So I'm going to do text. So here I'm going to add the prompt. I'll add the first one just to show you how well these images could come out. I'll paste it here. I'll leave it as square. Now this AI tool has difficulty level. The whole essence is for you to be able to play around with the complexity, especially depending on the kind of audience that your coloring book is created for, and which is really good because a lot of tools out there, you're not really able to control the complexity, but this tool allows you to do that, such that if you are creating your book for a toddler kind of audience, which ours is for, you have this here. Then there's the children, which is still simple but has just a little bit of additions around. Then we have the teenagers and adults, which increases in complexity. And for the difficulty level, obviously I'm going with toddlers. I'll leave the dimension as square because I'm going with an 8.5 by 8.5 dimension. I'm going to generate just one batch so you can see how well this AI tool can create images on just one batch. Private, upscale for print, we remove watermark, and I'm going to generate now. So each generation takes just 1 credit. Now look at this. Clean outlines, no word distortion, and exactly what I need for a simple toddler coloring page. I'm going to go ahead and download it. Now I'm going to do another one just to show you how consistent the images can be in terms of KDP ready images. I'll go to ChatGPT, copy the next one because creating one is good. However, you need to be sure that your images can remain consistent such that they all look like they can sit in the same coloring book. So I'm doing for the next one again, all other things remaining the same, and I'm going to generate now. So can you see how beautiful this image looks? Very bold, complete outlines, and very clean. And you can see that both of them look like they can actually sit in the same coloring book. Now, just to do it for the third time, I'm going to take the third prompt for the page 3 and I'm going to put it right here. I'll leave every other detail the same and I'm going to generate. So this is the image that this AI tool gives, and as you can see, the outlines are very clean, very bold, complete, and you can see all together they all look like they can sit in the same coloring book. Now, of course, I'm not going to allow you watch me do everything, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish that up. Once the images are ready, I bring everything into Canva. I'll create a custom size with units in inches. I'm going to be using this particular dimension, which accommodates bleed. This is under KDP Help Topics, by the way. So I'm going to impute the width and the height, create a new design. For the margin, since for the purpose of this video, I'm doing 24 pages for the coloring book, this is the inside margin to be used, and this is the outside margin I'm going to use because I'm using bleed. Quick question. While you're here, I would like to know where you are watching from. Just drop it in the comments. I'm curious to see where most people are learning KDP from right now. One way I simply get the exact margin is to bring a square, align it with the edges of the page, go to positions, and change the width and height to 0.375. So the box then serves as the exact dimension where I just pull in the rulers and the guides. I'm duplicating everything to get 24 pages, and I bring everything into Canva, all the images. This is where the book actually comes together. You want to ensure the images are really big and bold so that it's easy to color for kids. I'm leaving a space after every coloring page because this space serves as the back of the coloring page, which you want to leave empty to avoid any seep through from any coloring tool at all. Now, I don't even overthink this part, so it's literally just image and apply on page and repeat. Again, image on the page, zoom it out to make it as bold as possible, and leave a space and repeat. Now, at this point, we already have the complete interior of the coloring book. Now is when we create the cover. For the cover, I'm going to head into KDP cover calculator to enter the book information. The interior type is black and white. The paper type is white paper. Reading direction left to right. Measurement unit inches. The trim size is 8.5 by 8.5 inches. And the page count is 24 pages. And calculate dimension. I'll as well download the template. Now, like I said earlier, when you are creating, especially books like this kind of coloring book, the perceived value is in the length. Take, for example, this is like a toddler's coloring book, which is actually the age range of the kind of coloring book we're doing as well, from 2 to 5. And you can see this is 100 illustrations. This one is 100 as well. And for the purpose of our own video, we're doing 12. So you cannot do 12 and put the same price in. It doesn't work. So you have to have enough illustrations in the coloring book. And of course, which is why this AI tool can absolutely help with that. For the KDP cover, this is the width we're going to be using and the height here. In Canva, I'm going to put that. So I'm just going to change the width and create a new design. I've added the template here just so that I'm able to see how to centralize things and fix things around so I don't put things in areas where they risk being cut off in the publishing process. So right now, it's time for us to create our cover. For this, I'm heading back into ChatGPT and I'm saying, now give me a coloring book cover idea and a detailed prompt for it. So this is the cover concept it gave. Then there's the overall layout, and this is the detailed prompt. Now, I'm going to copy this prompt here, head into this AI tool. I'm still going to be using the text to coloring page. So for the prompt, I'm going to paste it here. So I have read through the prompt, edited where necessary. And if you look at this prompt, you can see that it has details of the color. However, because we are using the feature of text to coloring page, it's going to give a black and white image, after which we're going to do the coloring ourselves to fit the exact coloring that ChatGPT has instructed for us. Now, because this is for the cover page, in terms of the difficulty, I could use teenagers or children. Why? Because I'm going to have a lot of things going on in the background and we need the cover page to be, really friendly and engaging. So I'm leaving the difficulty level as teenagers. The dimension will be square. The batch, I can generate just 2 batches, so I have multiple options. I'm going to leave all of this on right here and I'm generating. So this is what it gave us, and this doesn't exactly look bad. However, I could decide to generate, and this time with children. So I'm going to be using the difficulty level of children, and let us see how it's going to come out. Now, mind you, because this is your cover, this is your first salesman, you need to be really particular about this. You need to look at what gives better output, what gives a better result, tweak things around just so that you can get as beautiful cover image as possible. So these are the images that I got. We have this here as well as this here. However, I think I'm going to go with this one right here. Now, in order for me to be able to easily have full control over the coloring, I can go to the online coloring here like so. I can click this button here to zoom it. This will give me, a zoomed in image, and I can decide to color it whichever color I prefer. Now, I would ensure this is on detect boundaries, and I would choose this paint bucket, after which I'm just going to scroll and choose whatever color I want. Let's say, for example, I'm using this color here. I can put it here and here as well. Then for this could be here and here. I could go with orange here. Then blue could be here. This as well. Can you see that it's all coming together super easily? For the teddy bear, I could color it brown. Let me use this color over here. And I'm just going to pour it around on the ears as well and on the legs. For this part, I'm going to use a lighter color here, just like so. For the dog, I can just make it yellow like this. For the ball, I'm using this color here. Now, one important thing that you need to know is to always make sure that you are saving your coloring record, so you don't lose any part of your coloring record in case maybe you mistakenly refresh the page, and you could always come back to continue the coloring. So you can see I've completely colored the coloring book cover here, and all I would do is download it and add it to our cover page. Wow, can you see how beautiful this looks? Now what I can do for the back page is simply get a shape, and I'm just going to expand that square shape over it like so. I would move the position to the back, and I'm going to take this color here and use the color picker to pick this color so that they can look the same thing. I could decide to add something else. I searched for grass, and I think I like something like this. Just going to put it at the back here like so. Duplicate it again, just like so. Now I can as well reduce the transparency just so that I can see what I'm doing at the back. Again, what I can do, an easy way to be able to fix the back is just simply to add some of the coloring pages or some of the coloring images over at the back. So I'm going to be taking about 5. So I can add this one here. I'm going to add a little bit of stroke weight. I'll make it just here. This would be big all the way here, just like so. Then I could have smaller images just to go around it. So we have this here like so, and I can decide to add the author name. Once all that is said and done, I can go back and take the transparency back to normal, as well as take out the templates. So can you see how beautiful this looks? So beautiful. So now at this point, we have the full coloring book. But here's where the second product comes in. Remember, we started with one idea and we already have one finished book, but we are not stopping here. Instead of starting over, I'm going to be reusing the same scenes. As you can see in ChatGPT, we have up to 24 prompts to create coloring pages, and we made use of just 12. Now, in order for it to not be exactly repetitive, I could add even newer coloring pages and reframe the coloring book scenes into dot marker activity book concept. Now, you may be wondering, what are dot markers? Now, these are what dot markers look like. They are basically coloring images, but this time with dot markers. As you can see, let me scroll all the way down just so that you can have an insight. As you can see, this is it here. You can see elephant, you can see unicorn, you can see cat, and they all have these dot markers inside it just to help in fun creativity. This is an example of how they could look like. Here's another example you can see over here as well. So now it's easier because now we're using just one idea and we're doing 2 different KDP products. I could decide to use 6 scenes from the coloring book and generate 6 just so that there can be a little bit of diversification. Now, you don't want to include the dot marker circles. You just want to still keep them simple, bold outline, kid-friendly, consistent style, suitable for ages 2 to 5. Now, I'm going to go ahead and generate about 6 or 7. And I'm going to be using the same process that I used for the coloring book. So it's basically simple. I'm just going to copy it, head to the text to coloring page. I will paste it here. I'll leave it at toddler, put it on square, and I will turn all of this on again, and I'm going to generate. So you can see it here. I was the one who added the smiley face on the airplane because we want to give it a kid-friendly style. So I'm just going to keep generating it the way I'm generating the coloring book pages. Mind you, you want to ensure that the images are large enough because you're going to be placing in dot markers. Now, the reason why I didn't add the dot markers at this stage, like in the prompt, is because I want to have full control over the placement later in Canva. So AI gives me the structure, the images, but I finalize the design manually. Now, I basically have all the coloring images. Now, if you go on Amazon for dot markers, you can see that the dimension is sort of different. You can see instead of a square dimension, it mostly has rectangular, which is 8.5 by 11. So we're going to be using a different dimension for this. Now, in KDP Help Topics, you can see that this will be our corresponding width and this will be the height. Again, I'm heading into Canva to fix the page size. I've set up the margins, and again, I'm going to duplicate until I get 24 pages. Now, just the way I added for the coloring book, I'm going to be doing the same for the dot marker activity book. So it's just add to the page, zoom it out, leave a space, do the same thing to the next one, and I'm doing for the next one again, and of course do the same thing for the rest. Now we have all the images already set up. What we want to start adding is the name as well as the dots. I'm going to be using text. I'll add a subheading. I'll put it up here. I'm going to rename it Magic Wand. I'll change the font to this Bobby Jones Softs here. Now I'm going to start adding the dots. To do that, I'm going to go to Elements. I will click on this. I'll change the color to white, then add a little bit of stroke like this. And I'm going to change the width and height to be like 0.6. I reduce the stroke a little bit, let's say at 2. And I can bring it up here. You want to make sure that the dots are not going over the edge. It should just be within the outlines. And because all the dots are the same, we're just going to be duplicating them. So I'm just filling them in. So you can see just like that, I have filled in the dots. Now, the areas where the dots are too big to enter, for example, the stick of the wand, you can see that the dot literally covers the whole of the outline. You are not meant to put the dots there. The dots are not meant to overlap each other. So if the dots do not fit in, you just leave that space like that. So I've done for the first one and you can see how it looks. Again, if I go to the second one here, I'm going to paste it. Remember, it's the same size throughout all of the images. I'll fix it here like so. I'll fix here again. So you can see I filled for this side. So now for the middle of the camera, I would like to put the dots everywhere. However, you can see there are lines here, but I don't really want these lines to be there. I could easily take them out so I can spread the dots everywhere. I'll click on the camera image itself, click on edit, and I would go to magic eraser. I would zoom it in just so that I'm able to only capture these lines that I want to take out. Once I have all these lines covered, I can click on delete. It's going to give us a blank space where I can easily cover all the areas with dots. So this is how I'm going to keep adding all the dots. Of course, I'm not going to make you watch to the end, so I'm going to go do that. And now we basically have the second book structure. Same idea, different product. Now the next thing is for us to go ahead and create the cover. For the cover, I'm heading into KDP cover calculator and I'm going to select the binding type, the interior type, the paper type, the reading direction, the measurement unit, the interior trim size, which is 8.5 by 11, the page count, which is 24, and calculate dimension. Now, this is the exact dimension we would then use for the cover page for this dot marker activity book. So I'll change the width, the height remains the same, and create a new design. I'll as well go download the template for this, which I'll be adding into the Canva page. I've added the template here like so, and at this point, I'm just going to be really creative in terms of the cover. So I'm adding this square here and let me use blue. I'm going to reduce the transparency just so I can see the template and know how to move things around. I'm also going to add this square element and I'm just going to put it around here like so. I will change the color to white and reduce the transparency also. Now I'm going to add elements, which is a circle element. So this will be red. I can put this here. This would be blue. This would be yellow. Here it's going to be orange. This is going to be pink. This is green. So you can see I'm just making the colors pretty, multiple colors. Okay, so now that we have this here like so, the next thing we want to do is we want to write the name of the activity book. So for this, I use Pluma. For this, I'm going to use another color. I can use pink, whichever one. So I can add a puzzle piece. Let's use this one. I'll change the color to red. Then I would add dot markers on it. So I will put dot markers, but I'll add a little bit of stroke to the dot markers. I would paste it here again. Change the color to blue. Paste another one here. So we have this here. Another thing we could add is a ball. So we have beach ball toy here and we can basically just repeat the same thing. So I just tweaked a little bit of the colors around. I added this element here. I simply searched name header and this came up. Then this, I searched cartoon grass and I chose this. So now I'm typing sky background. I think I like this one. So I'm going to extend it all the way, bring it up like so. Then I'm going to take it to the back, then begin to bring it forward. So it's going to be like this. I could decide to still leave this here like so, or take it out, whichever one is better. I think I'll just take it out and this looks perfectly good. For the back, you could decide to add some of the images. So I'm just going to go ahead, copy some of the images and paste here like so. Now I can just add a little bit of stroke around it and do the same for this as well. Now once all that is said and done, I'm going to go ahead and take out the templates while I go back to improve the transparency back to normal. After all that said and done, this is what we have at the end of the day. So now we basically have the second book structure, same idea, different products. Now, like I always say, you want to ensure that you take a lot of effort in creating your cover, because the cover is what ties everything together visually. And just like that, one idea became two completely different KDP products, a coloring book and an activity book built using the exact same starting point. And once you understand this workflow, you can repeat it across different niches without starting from scratch every time.